So Smite is no stranger when it comes to crossovers, adding fan-favorite shows like Avatar: The Last Airbender to real-world bands such as Slipknot. So in today's video, I'm going over 5 collab ideas for Smite that I came up with. Now, none of the collab ideas I think will happen or down there on Smite's radar whenever doing collabs, but these are more of a fun what-if scenario. Also, none of these are in any particular order. With that being said, let's get straight into the 5 Smite collab ideas. For the first collab idea, I have Record of Ragnarok. Now, if you aren't aware of Record of Ragnarok, it's a series where humans and gods fight out in a 1v1 round tournament, deciding the fate of humanity. So if you're interested in the series, I recommend you either go read the manga, or you can even watch up to 2 seasons on Netflix. Since I'm going to be going over the fighters, if you don't want to get spoiled, I recommend you click off and skip to this time frame to the next collab. So for the skins, I have a total up to 6 skins, 3 for the human side and 3 for the god side. For the god side, I will have Shiva, Thor, and Zeus. I feel like these are some pretty good picks for the god side since Zeus and Shiva are their chief gods from their pantheons, and Thor is the first god that was in the first round. Now for the human side, I have Ravana as Adam, Loki as Jack the Ripper, and Bellona as Buddha. Adam Ravana could be controversial since Adam's in the Bible and that could spark some controversy. However, there wasn't too much of an issue that I could find with Adam being a fighter in the anime. That being said, in the 6th round in the show, Jesus was supposed to appear but was cut, and no, he wasn't one of the 13 fighters. But speaking of the 6th round, Buddha is one of the fan favorites of the series, and Bellona as the poster child of Smite, it just makes sense. But just like Bellona, Buddha has different arsenal of weapons, so it's almost like the skin was meant to be. Finally, Jack the Ripper for Loki just makes sense. A character that's good at killing and vanishing like Loki. Overall, while I think it would be cool for Smite to do a collab, since I think it will make a whole lot of sense to go for an anime that's more based on mythology, but I could see them not doing it since it might spark some controversy depending on their skin choices. Now I want to do a music collab idea, but figuring out a band was kind of hard. I had to find that 1, a band that is popular or is very well known, and 2, they could be marketed for skins. The second part was pretty hard to figure out since I couldn't do something like Imagine Dragons, a well-known band, but they really don't have the marketability as skins, but maybe as like a music pack. So that led me to one band which is a gamble if I'll be honest, that being Kiss. For those who don't know, Kiss is a rock band that was in the 1970s with 4 members. Most of the members are also known for what I believe to be their band names, that being the Demon, the Catman, the Spaceman, and the Star Child. Now for them being a band in the 1970s, it might be a little bit hard for Smite to get people interested in the collab, but since last year was a mixture of older stuff like G.I. Joe and recent things like VTubers, it is definitely a possibility for a Kiss collab to work and be successful. So for the skins, since I'm not too familiar with the band, my choices are mostly going to be based on their appearance. So for the first skin is going to be for the Star Child for Iset. I feel like in a design wise it kind of works with his costume with Iset, and maybe when the ult is being used, a guitar is shown while playing a song. Next is Spaceman for Kronos. I feel like in a weird way it just makes sense for me and I can't really say why, it's just, yeah, it kind of works. But also I can see Kronos' staff could be a microphone stand. Next is the Demon as Gilgamesh. I can see the Demon as a warrior and Gilgamesh just makes sense for me, being a warrior that's in your face, and his ultimate could also just be Hellfire, maybe a concert playing in the background. Last is a skin for the Catman, and well, it's kind of simple. It's Bastet. To be honest, I don't feel like I need to explain too much for this choice. Now for a more gruesome collab, that being Mortal Kombat. A series that doesn't really need too much of an introduction other than it's one of the most well-known fighting games of all time. So for this collab, I'm going to be focusing on the Mortal Kombat 1 roster, and I don't mean 2023 1. That being Scorpion, Sub-Zero, Johnny Cage, Raiden, Sonya, Liu Kang, and Kano. For Scorpion, I'll be giving this skin to Mulan. Mulan just makes sense, especially with her grappling ability, just fits well with Scorpion's famous quote, "Get over here!" But also I can see whenever using the ult, Scorpion will be using Hellfire during it. Next is Sub-Zero, and I'll be giving this skin to Agni. Figuring out a god for Sub-Zero was very hard, especially since the only god who has the freeze ability being Ymir, but that doesn't really fit Sub-Zero. Well, I feel like Agni's abilities visually kind of work. His one can be a frozen area, and when combined with the sun with his other abilities that are being used in it, it could kind of mimic the freeze as a stun. But also Agni's ult could be just a giant ball of ice, and his fire tick damage can look like frostbites. Next is Johnny Cage, and I'll be giving this skin to Soul. I chose Slow because when it comes to visuals, it just kind of worked for Johnny Cage. Her basic attacks 2 and her ultimate could be a green glow that Johnny Cage has, and her 3 could be a pair of sunglasses that are floating. Next is Raiden, and you may think I'd be choosing a god of thunder or lightning, but I'm actually going to give this skin to Sun Wukong. Sun Wukong has a staff like Raiden which fits with him, but also his abilities fit well. While his 1 and 2 can look pretty standard, his 3 and ultimate will have new effects. His 3 will have when he is in Ox form, Raiden will be dashing forward with lightning sparking behind him. His target stand will be ready to perform his signature Thunder Dash, and Eagle will be a reference to the lightning dragon that was used in the Injustice series. His all will perform the same, but when he crashes down, lightning will be created. For Sonya Blade, I'll be giving this skin to Apollo, because she could either use actual guns or some gun gauntlets she sometimes has. The 1 will probably be a normal standard blast effect, while the 2 could be a reference to Sonya's Kiss Fatality in Mortal Kombat 1, and though it could be Sonya in a helicopter or any kind of military vehicle from the Special Forces. Next is going to be Liu Kang, and for him, I'm going to be having a returning god pick, that being Ravana. I did want to try to avoid repeats with gods, but Ravana just fits Liu Kang so well. With Ravana being one of the very few gods that fights with his fist, but also Ravana's kids works pretty well with Liu Kang. Like his 2 could be him sending out a fireball, and with the backflip works well with Liu Kang since how agile he is, or even his 3 could be a projection of the Mortal Kombat dragon. Next is Kano, and for how much of a scumbag Kano can be, it's only fitting this skin is going towards Loki. Some things like the eye laser being missing or Kano going invisible doesn't make sense. This skin just fits too well to pass it up. Now for the last skin, I have a surprise skin, that being the Mortal Kombat Dragon for Tiamat. This skin feels very fitting for how both the Mortal Kombat Dragon and Tiamat's body shape is, but this skin could also be a reward you get if you collect all of the skins. Definitely the largest skin collab in this video, but I feel like excluding any of the characters from the main roster would be criminal. The next collab will be Cartoon Network, mostly featuring older shows if I'll be honest, but at least have one somewhat modern show in it. So first skin will be Dexter from Dexter's Laboratory for Hera. Now you may think this would be better for someone else like Cupid for Dexter because of the body shapes, but I'm giving this to Hera since there's a lot more creative things that we could do with it. One being Argus could be Robo Dexo 2000. I feel like this would be something very cool to be added, but also Hera's 2 could be a reference to that one episode where Dexter had an animal shifting remote. Next is Grim from the Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy for Hades. I was thinking that maybe Thanatos could also been a good pick for the skin, but I went for Hades since I feel like it suits him a little bit better. But to be honest, I feel like either Hades or Thanatos would be a perfect fit for Grim. Next is Steven Universe for Geb. Now it might be a weird one, but hear me out. If Steven was added in the game as the skin, a guardian or support character fits very well, but Geb's abilities fit so well for Steven. This one could be Steven in his pink ball, and once you have a charge out for the knockback, the ball can be spiked. His 2 maybe could be Lion coming out and roar at the enemies. His 3 is simple, but having his robe shield around his ally, and his ultimate could be him expanding his bubble. Next is Samurai Jack for Susanoo. I feel like Samurai Jack is a very fitting character for Susanoo, but maybe not with his abilities when it comes related to win, but I feel like the skin is fitting enough where that shouldn't really matter too much. The last skin I have will be Johnny Bravo for Hercules. Despite how already this pick isn't already fit enough for Johnny Bravo, they could have it for Hercules' club, be a mirror for Johnny Bravo, and his ultimate could be some kind of huge weight. For the final collab I have for Smite, it's gonna be the Monster Hunter series. A series I really love with how fun it is and all the monsters the series has to offer. So let's create a party of hunters and a monster for them to hunt. First from our hunters is gonna be the one wielding the hammer, that being Chalk. I can see if they choose the hammer Monster Hunter, they could go with the barrel set, and it could fit very well with Chalk's kit, like the rain could be turned into a sandstorm. Next will be Erling Shen, and he'll have the insect glaive of the group. You can see Erling Shen's being one of the canines of the series, and for the armor set, I can see him as a Tobakadashi. He could also have his turtle form be one of the bugs, or even for his weasel form, he could be the Tobakadashi itself. Next will be our dual blade hunter, and for it, I'll be choosing Pele. I chose Pele not just because of the fact she has dual blades, but also her kit kinda makes sense. For how Pei's field mechanic and how her passive works, it kind of works for the dual blading style, and especially with its demon mode. So for the armor set, I chose the Anjanath set, fitting for Pele, I think. Although picking a monster with more fire base would also make sense, I just think picking Anjanath is more memorable, especially if you played Monster Hunter World. Next is going to be our bow hunter, and I'll be giving the skin to Artemis. I feel like not including the Greek goddess of the hunt would be criminal not to feature, so for the armor chest, I picked up Brachydios for it. Mainly because I think how the armor set looks very cool, but also I think fits kind of Artemis very well. But Artemis could also be the trapper of the team with her vine chest she places down, and for ultimate she have a feline to help attack whenever she uses her ultimate. Speaking of feline, surprise, we have another one joining the hunt, and that being feline for Dansbura. Now I know for Monster you can only have up to 4 hunters in a team, but the idea of adding feline for Dansbura was a cool idea enough that I feel like it should have been left out. Now for a monster these hunters will go up against. I had to think of this one, what would be a cool idea, but one stick out me the most, that'd be Kukulkan as Rathalos. The most iconic monster of this issue just makes sense to be the monster for this team to hunt, and Kukulkan fits Rathalos pretty well. His one could be a fireball attack, and his 3 could be some kind of fire tornado. They could also have, if they do recolors, there'd be a Rathian variant, and his ultimate could be a projection of Rathalos itself, while Kukulkan could be more fitting for Kushula Deora, which is a good argument, but since Rathalos is way more iconic, it just makes more sense for Kukulkan to get this skin. So there are my Smite crossover ideas, and what did you think? Let me know down in the comments below if you either agree or disagree with my choices, but also leave your Smite crossover ideas. I'd love to hear them. But I think that's gonna wrap up today's video, and I hope you enjoyed, and if so, hit that like button. If you're new to the channel, hitting that subscribe button would definitely be appreciated. But I'll catch you in the next one. See ya.